This is way too big a room. All right, you can do it. That's a huge bitch. Cut his effing head off. The Wonder Boy's a cheater. Billy, I should have made love to you when I had the chance. It's me, Jessica. I'm in here. Hey, Geek, get your brother out of the dishwasher. Oh, no flinties off the docks. Go down there and get my nuts. I don't remember all of the ones. I should have made love to you when I had the chance. Anyway, those are some of the movies I remember. Some of the things people remember. They remember more than me. Can you see me? I'm like a midget. You can't really see me. Should I stand up or maybe I'll sit here? Maybe you can see me a little better. Is there a screen or something?
Yeah, it's on the side.
There is? Okay. All right, good. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for coming. And, okay, well, basically, I got a new show on Netflix called Real Rob. The next season starts the end of July, early August. It's the most liberating I've ever had the pleasure of working with. They basically have given me 2 notes in the last year and a half, and nothing really about creatively. You know, it's just they just support me, and it's been unbelievable. And Adam Sandler's doing like 8 movies over there because he's rich, and it's been amazing. It's like it's because they don't have advertisers. They just want the material, and they just say, we know you're funny and make your show. It's unbelievable. I've never had that experience. You know, I'm used to a lot more dummies and interference, like on CBS. Good Lord, what a bunch of dummies over there. It's impossible to do a funny show on network TV. Impossible. I just don't believe it's possible. People may say they're good, but no, I just don't think it's possible. So I'm doing 8 30-minute movies basically for Netflix, and they wanted it 5 months ago, and I was like, no, I'm not done yet. I said, okay, well, when can you finish? I hope June, maybe July. So they've been great. So I'm so grateful to Netflix for allowing me to do that, and I hope you dig it, because it's 2 years of our lives. But anyway, this has been an interesting experience. I want to try to do a movie that kind of hits this audience here, because I'm seeing people dressing up and being things, and I'm like, wow, I want to do this. So I called Adam Sandler. He's in Italy because he's rich. And I told him an idea. That's kind of a comic book idea, and he liked it. So he doesn't like anything, hardly ever. So maybe we'll be able to make that. He's got another 4 movies to make with Netflix, so maybe we'll do one of those, I hope. But anyway, so if you have any questions about some things, I've been doing this for about 30 years. I'm still having a good time. There's been an interesting, you know, it's an interesting time in show business as far as whenever the traditional structure of the business changes. In other words, you know, with streaming like Netflix and Hulu and what have you, there's a gap that is a chasm that opens up, and that's where good material can come in, and interesting stuff, because they haven't controlled it enough and squeezed the authenticity and the integrity out of it, which will happen, I guarantee you. But right now, it seems to be like a window where you can do stuff. And I have to admit, I was a big snob. I loved doing movies because I thought they were more liberating and more fun. But TV seems to be more a creative place to make things now. And you're seeing better TV, like Breaking Bad was like, I mean, after that show, my wife and I looked at each other and said, well, they can do this with a drama, then it can be done with a comedy. Let's try to make one. And so that's what we did. And we made a 30-minute, you know, not like on CBS, which is like 20 minutes and 30 seconds. On Netflix, our show's 30 minutes, sometimes 40, just because we don't have any discipline. But, you know, CBS, 20 minutes and 30 seconds, you take a crap, you miss half the show. So, and you're not missing anything really, but anyway, I don't mean to shit on CBS, but I do mean to shit on CBS. If you have any questions, please come on up. There's a microphone here. Don't be shy. I prefer the questions to be about stuff I've done, not Michael Madsen. He's actually on the new series, by the way. Michael Madsen, Eugenio Derbez, the great Mexican comedy star, and Adam Sandler are in the new season of Real Rob. So please.
I have a question for you. What is your favorite scene and/or line from Deuce Bigalow?
Oh my goodness. We know what's funny is that the guy, there's a guy named Roger. Deuce Bigalow, I was very blessed for the hot chick in Deuce Bigalow and the animal, because I had like the guys, the writers of The Simpsons. We basically paid them a lot of money to come in and punch it up, and they came up with some great lines. And one of my buddies, who's the head writer over there, Matt Selman, or at least he runs the room, I don't know what, he's a genius, and he's for a Simpsons writer. And he came in, he said, let me come in, because we're doing some stuff. In other words, we're watching the movie and seeing we could throw in some lines here and there. And so, then the big, tall girl where you never see her head, it's actually a guy named Torsten Vogt, a German guy. Did you see The Do-Over? Yeah. Well, anyway, the guy, he's the bad guy in The Do-Over. And it's a guy who's like really tall, we put big shoes on him, we never showed his head. He didn't get, because he's German, he has no sense of humor. And we said, he said, maybe if they put some makeup on me, they'll show my face. No, that's not why. It's funny because we don't see your face. But anyway, while we were spotting it and they're doing the mix, Matt Selman came in, and when he's walking down, he came up with the line, "That's a huge bitch!" I thought that was pretty funny. Keep it in the circus was what I came up with. Behemoth! I just thought anybody yelling Behemoth. So, you know, it's just, that's a movie that just, you can watch a bunch of times because there's just so many jokes in there we squeezed in. And it was such a small movie from Disney that before they knew what was happening, we were done with it and said, sorry, this is it. Deal with it. And then it went on to make more money than Mission Impossible. So, you know, at least in DVD for that year. I was like, whoa, take that, Tom Cruise. Bitch. Thank you for the question. Yes, sir.
In all the movies that you have seen, if you could switch out a major role for someone, what movie would it be, and what person would it be?
That's a very good question. If I could switch out somebody, I was just talking to Michael Madsen, who's a great actor. He's actually very good in comedy, very good on our show. I think he's in episode 6 in the new one. He's in the same episode as Adam Sandler. It's a ridiculous episode. And I think we were just talking about who was offered The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. It was Eli Wallach and Clint Eastwood, of course, and then Lee Van Cleef was the guy playing the bad, and he was actually offered to Henry Fonda. That would have been interesting. You know, there's the John Schlesinger movie, the one with Dustin Hoffman. What the hell is it called? Hey, I'm walking here, Dustin Hoffman. What's it called? Come on, people. Midnight Cowboy. Well, that was originally not offered to John Voight. It was offered to Elvis Presley. That would have changed his career. He would have been considered he would have been a good actor because they just needed a dumb cowboy. He could play a dumb guy pretty good. So it would have been nice because he really wanted to be taken as, seriously as an actor. I would have liked to see more movies with Marlon Brando. I just think he was just so interesting. His last good movie he ever made was Last Tango in Paris, and he just, after that, he never wanted to give. He said, I'm never going to show that much of myself ever again. And he never did. That was it. He was a very private person. But that's a very interesting movie if you want to get to know who Marlon Brando is. He's just, to me, he changed film acting and stage acting, to be honest. And so, when everybody says, oh, it's a Hollywood movie, it's a Hollywood ending. Well, that's why Hollywood, for most of this last century, the last 100 years, has been about 90% of the film industry, because you make people feel good. It's a good ending, it's whatever. But the guy who changed a lot of film acting, it's American actors. And I don't say that egotistically. The English actors work from the neck up. The Italian actors, the Spanish actors, well, the Italian actors work from the heart out, and then, of course, the Spanish guys work from the crotch. And it's the Americans who put it all together. And it's Americans who changed film acting. And I don't say that any disrespect to the other cultures. I just think it just also, you know, we had World War I and World War II, America, we could still make films, and the French and everything were kind of done. But interestingly though, after World War II, you know, we had the most interesting movies coming out of Italy and France, because anytime something that just destroys whatever is happening, you know, you can have an interesting chance to be creative. And I don't think that's by accident. I think destruction, creativity, two sides of the same coin. So if anything's happening in your life that's a disaster, something interesting is going to happen, because there's two sides and they're connected. It's like the crest of a wave and the trough. They're connected. They're interchangeable. They're inseparable. And so I think creatively, you know, that's why I think it's interesting right now in my career. I think because, you know, I'm ready for this, whatever's going to happen, because I feel like, you know, it's just, I'm ready for it. I'm excited about it, and I think we worked 1 year and 9 months on these last 8 episodes, and I'm just like, it's crazy. And I remember talking to Jerry Seinfeld, because I did an episode of Seinfeld, and I was really excited. I go, Jerry, man, it's great to be here. I'm like, God, because he asked me to do one, and I was doing a film with Mark Landau in Prague, and I couldn't do it. And it was a really funny episode, and I was going to play the pool guy, and I couldn't do it, you know. And then he had me do this other one. I was really excited to be there, you know. And we did the read through, and I was like, oh, this is the best, man, Seinfeld. And then Michael Richards came up to me, hey, sorry, this one kind of sucks, this episode. And I'm like, oh, shit. But it was still fun to do. And I asked Jerry, I said, Jerry, how do you do 24 great ones? Episodes. How do you make 24 great? He said, you don't. You do 6 that are great. You do another 6 that you can live with. You do another 6, you know, because you have to. And then you do another 6, you hope your friends aren't in the country when it airs. Well, I'll never forget him saying that. So I think you can do 8 great ones. That's what we tried to do, and that's all, you know, I don't know. I'm very slow, methodical in my stuff, and that's why I take forever to do shit. I'm gonna make some movies in the next couple of years, and then I don't know what I'm gonna do. You know, I'm excited about it. I wasn't for a while. I kind of got burned out after Big Stand, and the Chosen one I made. I was like, maybe I don't want to do this for a while, so I stopped. And I'm excited again, and I think that's a big part of the creative process. You have to stay excited. When Adam Sandler called me up and said, dude, I know he's excited about some other idea, you know? And that's why he's been working for 30 years, because he's still excited about it. We had so much fun with Netflix, The Ridiculous Six, you know? Trying to make a Western, which is a $50 million Western. That ain't easy to get $50 million from anybody to make a movie. And it was just fun to be, you know, a bunch of old guys with guns and weapons and dirt and horses, and, well, me, a donkey. So, next question.
When did you first know you wanted to be a comedian?
Well, shit, let me think. I just liked comedy. My dad had comedy albums. And I just noticed that if you're being funny, people would pay attention to you. And like, I was the youngest, so, you know, the only way I could get any attention pretty much was being an idiot. And that worked out well for me. I think that, you know, I think comedians, and then it turns into an art form. I love laughing. As Woody Allen says, you know, comedy is the, you know, laughing is the funnest, best thing you can do. The most fun thing to do with your clothes on, you know. And I loved comedians, and like, you know, there was luckily my dad had comedy albums, and we'd go see funny movies. What's more fun than that? So that's what I wanted to do when I was young. I didn't know it was going to turn into anything. I started writing sketches when I was 16 and setting it to Saturday Night Live, and 10 years later I was on it. But between 16 and 26, when you're that age, is forever. Now I realize that's like a minute, you know. So, but yeah, but you gotta do it when you're young. That's important. Thanks for your question. Yes?
Yeah, this kind of piggybacks off of his question. Because to us, you know, you're one of the funniest guys ever, and
Thank you.
What comedians do you look up to?
Well, you know what? The guys I loved the most was Richard Pryor was the greatest stand-up. Every stand-up, yeah, God bless him. Every stand-up ever is still stealing from him. Everybody. You know, if you see Dave Chappelle, Eddie Murphy, God bless Eddie. You know, I talked to him recently. I ran into him, and I said, Eddie, you got to get back out there. And Eddie was like, dude, I don't care how good you are. And I said, you're the best, man. And he said, I don't care how good you are. You got to spend a year in clubs, which means I ain't doing that, you know. And you have to. He's right. He respects the art form enough for that. He was Richard Pryor. Like people don't realize, Chris Rock, all these guys, we're still taken from Pryor. We all of us are. He was like the statue of David of stand-up comics. And it was a weird thing because they filmed him in like the 70s in Long Beach, and luckily they did. And I got to meet Richard, and I said, "Hey Richard, man, we're all still stealing from you." I got to meet him in the early 90s. I said, "Thanks, man, for laying it down for us." I said, "You're the greatest ever." And I said, that concert in Long Beach, and he said, "You saw that?" I said, "Yeah, everybody saw that." He said, "Oh man, you should have seen that shit 6 months later." I just started to figure that shit out. And I believe him, because he was a monster. But he was a guy that, he did characters, and that's what it was. Because he went in 1968, I don't mean to bore you, but if you're in a stand-up, I love stand-up, and it's my passion. He was making $10,000 a week after Ed Sullivan in 68. And then he realized he wasn't doing what was true to him. So he went from $10,000 a week in 1968 to $200 a week to work little clubs to kind of find out what he was doing. And I saw an old bit of him in 1972 at a little club called the Improv in New York, a little dumpy place. And 45 minutes of it was not interesting at all. And he was picking his nose literally and like just talking, no jokes or anything. And then when he went into his characters, it was mesmerizing. And that was the thing that made him. So it's important to realize what your strengths are. And he's my hero. Monty Python is my hero. Steve Martin was like, when I was a kid, off the charts, just excited. He's the first guy to do stadiums as one guy, as a stand-up. So, interesting guy. Those guys are Cheech and Chong, I loved when I was a kid. And I get to work with these guys. It's been awesome to get to meet them and meet your heroes. I'm very lucky for that. Thank you for your question. Yes? Do I like beef stew? I like beef stew. Did you see that movie, The Benchwarmers? Thank you. Nick Swardson's talking about doing a sequel to that, and I said, I'll do it. I talked to Peter. It's just a nice little movie we made. We had a lot of fun with it. We said, David Spade was like, "Hey dude, man, there's this funny guy, John Eater, he's Napoleon Dynamite, we should hire him, And I was like, yeah, okay. And then we offered him money, and they said, well, let's see if he takes that. And the dummy took this first offer we made him. I didn't have the heart to tell him he's here now. I said, dude, we would have paid you $1 million, dude, if you would have just held out a little bit longer. But we'll pay you for the sequel, I promise, John. Thanks for your question. Yes?
Did you enjoy working with Stallone as Judge Dredd?
Well, Stallone, it was a weird thing. I gotta say it was an experience more than joyful. I wouldn't say it was like the most fun I've ever had, but it was really great. It was a great experience because working with that guy was like the most famous person in the world, or the top 2 or 3 people. It was like Muhammad Ali, Stallone, and Schwarzenegger. Those are the biggest stars in the world at that time when I made that in the 90s. And just being with him was just weird and just cool. Walking down the street, traffic would stop. No, even a supermodel, maybe traffic, guys they would pull over and go, dude, that's so nice, just a line roll there, But I enjoyed working with it. I kind of knew the movie wasn't going to work going to be and to me, I think the movie was flawed. It was a nice movie, and it's a cartoon basically, but I thought it was flawed because I think it was too true to the original comic book. I think you have to take the comic book, and respectfully, you have to change it a little bit. And I just thought his outfit was too ripped and too when he had a big cod piece, and I was like, whoa man, we're in trouble. Anyway, there's a picture of me the first day looking at him with this big thing over his dick, and I was like, whoa, we're gonna be in trouble. But I had fun, the main thing is, man, let me just tell you this, whenever you're working in the creative arts, there's a tendency to think about what it can get you, the next movie or the next thing, or money or girls, which is a good thing to look forward to. But you have to enjoy the process of it to be great at it, or to have the chance to be great at something. And I enjoyed the process of it. It was fun. Just to learn to be on camera, just to figure out what's going on with special effects. We had to do the scene before. We didn't have a lot of special effects in that movie. There were some. But they had this giant thing where there's a big flame coming out. And 40-foot flame. It's going to run from there up to here. We're starting here, where the flame's going to end. And we're running. We got these futuristic boots and shit. And before every take, the special effects guy's lathering up Stallone with all this anti-lather gel burning shit. And they're not giving me any. That's because he's making $250,000 a day, and I'm making a lot less than that. He was getting $250,000 a day. So man, he's making some serious coin. Or a week, whatever it was, doesn't fucking matter. So I was taking stuff off of him, and I said, you know, F you, give me some of that shit. Before it takes, I was grabbing it, putting it on my own fucking head. It was hot as shit in there. But that helps you act too. If you don't have to act, you just feel your ass on fire. But I really enjoyed working with him, and I haven't talked to him in a long time. I need to give him a call, just see how he's doing. I wish him the best, and I just appreciate the chance. I mean, I like anybody who hires me. Usually it's just Adam Sandler. But he called me up, hey, listen, kid, because we did a movie, Demolition Man. Hey, listen, kid, hey, Joe Pesci said no, and you're cheaper, come on. Let's do the movie. So I did it. It was 5 months of fun. Thank you. Yes?
You being half Filipino, are you going to do any Filipino hints again in the movies?
I try to, you know. I put like, you know, like my family owns the Baguio Courier. It's a little tiny newspaper. I put that in the animal and Babinka. And I said like, you know, the Walt Disney Corporation said, what's Babinka? And I said, it's a Filipino dessert. Yeah, well, no one's going to know that. I said, Filipinos are going to know that. They said, yeah, we'll put raspberry in front of it. I said, okay, all right. Then I have all these Filipinos, nope. There's no such thing as raspberry babinka. And I said, shut up, I got bigger problems with this. But it's nice though, there's not a lot of Filipino. Luke Diamond Phillips is here and he claims he's Filipino. He fucking claims he's everything, by the way. You know? He's Latino, he's Filipino, he's Asian, he's black. Good God knows what he is. Whatever will get you hired, that's what I learned from Lou. Yes?
In your opinion, what is the funniest Joker voice that you've done?
Oh God, well you know what, the one that I got the most shit for was probably Chuck and Larry. And it was really funny because like I'm an idiot. I didn't think, like Adam wanted to make it really, you know, Asian and goofy. And I didn't realize that I was going to piss people off because I'm an idiot. And the guy doing the makeup was Japanese, guy Kazu, he's a genius. He's a guy who worked with Rick Baker, and Rick Baker, of course, is the famous guy who did like American Werewolf in London. He's a genius, you know. So if this guy feels okay about it, then that's okay. But I, you know, in the meantime, I'm looking like a crazy Chinese person. And it was really fun because I was doing this character, and Adam Sandler and Kevin James were getting married, you know, for their insurance or whatever the hell the thing was. They couldn't even be in the same scene with me on their own because they were just laughing too hard. It's a circle, there's no bikini. There is no hand. Because it's a circle. And they're looking at me trying not to laugh. And I just kept going because I saw Adam starting to go up in the corner. I said, I got this fucker, I got it. I said, you know, it's a circle because it's not like a triangle. Because it got a corner, the triangle got a corner, but not a circle. There's no corner, there's no bikini. And there's no hand. Because it's a circle. And Kevin would start laughing. Finally, Kevin just walked off the set and said, screw this, I'm not doing it. When he leaves, I'll come back and I'll shoot my side. That to me was one of the best compliments I've ever gotten. But both of them said, I'm not doing it with Rob on the scene. And I said, well, I got these guys, you know. So that was this thing, you know, and as long as it's not meant to be mean, I think it's okay. And I think like, you know, for the people who were pissed off at me, Asian people, some Asian people, I think that, you know, the most sensitive people shouldn't be the ones deciding what everybody else gets to watch. And so I make no apologies.
Next question. Do you have plans to go on Game Grumps again?
Yeah, Game Grumps. These guys on Game Grumps are really funny and nice guys, and they hated me on my TV show, Real Rob, but they really liked my wife. And so I played it for my wife because they said, and she said, I like these guys. Yeah, sure, they like you, they hate me. And so I went on there and said, let's just call them up. And they were respectful, even though they didn't like me. And then I kind of explained to them, I said, why are you playing a jerk? And they said, because it's funny. why would I want to play a guy who says how great he is? You know, I said, that's not funny. I said, it's a guy, like, I wanted to be Faulty Towers, like John Cleese, a guy who shits on himself. And it was just this really selfish a-hole, which is more interesting to play, guys who have big problems. And so I went on and explained that. My wife went on and she played some old video game. But we're going back on in July or August. We're going back. Yeah.
On the subject of your wife, because of course in Real Rob, she's like really nice, and like she's always like smelling something like that. I was like, what was the movie you won her over with? Like, did she see you and like do the big?
She saw Big Stan. She liked that because I was ripped. And my friend told me, "You're never going to be in that good a shape ever again. It's all going to go." He was right. No, but she's very lovely. She's a really good producer, and I was very lucky to meet her, and she's the best thing that ever happened to me. And I'm very happy that she's in the show, and she's terrific this season. I think the first season she didn't have enough to do, and then she's really got to have fun. And she wrote, her and Jamie Lissow, who plays my assistant, they wrote most of this next season. I rewrote it and made it better, but they did. I'm very proud of her. I'm really looking forward to seeing what will happen for her in her career. You know? So thank you. Yes?
What was it like auditioning for like SNL?
Nerve-wracking. You got to be cocky to make it in the business. You have to think you're great. There's a thing like you have to, in the beginning of any creative endeavor, you have to watch everything. John Cleese, my hero, told me this. You have to watch something enough times to where you're not affected by it anymore, and then you just sort of watch the structural, how it's structured, and how it's put together, the scenes, in other words. And then you can really and when you first start as an actor, you just, as an actor or a comedian, you gotta watch everything. And then you start to develop taste, and hopefully you have good taste. For me, the stuff that I loved the most was the silly stuff. And I think the stuff that I've done that's the best, of what holds up the best, is the silliest stuff, more than the, stuff that's less silly. I think silly is the best part of comedy, if you can, and it just gets people laughing hard. I mean, like when we were doing, the hot chick, I mean, we were just dying. We were like, you think you're so cool because you can pee with your penis, and, a guy, not a girl, that's a guy not knowing how to, use the urinal or whatever. It was just, we were just dying, and like maybe we were laughing too hard, but the Saturday Night Live, at a certain point, then you have to kind of turn it all off and just do your own stuff. And so then I started just doing my own stuff, and then I said, I'm gonna audition for this show, and I did, and then like I killed it, it went great, and then I said, I just left, because I didn't stick around to meet the guy. And the next day, the main guy from Saturday Night Live, Lorne Michaels, wanted to meet with me, and I was like, well, I got a gig in San Diego. And they said, he wants to meet me, fly me to New York. I'm going down to San Diego, I got a gig. And that's, it's my job. So I'm driving down to San Diego to make $75. And I thought, did I just make the biggest mistake of my life? And I got like a cold sweat, that maybe I just screwed up my career. And then, I was the only guy that he flew to New York to meet, and I got hired. I was the only guy who got hired. And then David Spade got hired because they told him that we were a writing team. But anyway, he went on to his own thing, which is good. But yeah, you have to just. And then I got nervous when I flew to New York. I was really nervous because I really wanted that show. And then I had to audition for all the writers. And if you're auditioning for other comedy people, they don't laugh. They're just watching the scenes. They're watching how it's put together, and that was very nerve-wracking. And then Lorne Michaels said, I just wanted to see if you could do it again. Because what I do is if I see something brilliant, I know that they're capable of repeating it. So I said, am I hired? Yes. Yeah, you're hired. Good. Okay, I'm in. And then you're in show business once you get on a show like that. But yeah, I was very nervous. Thank you. If you're not nervous, you don't care. You got to be nervous. You got to want it. If you don't want it, then it's not interesting for people, I think. Yes, sir.
Could I go on stage and high five you?
At the end.
Okay.
You can. Yes.
What was it like meeting David and John for the first time on Benchwarmers?
Well, I met David and I were friends back in the 80s doing stand-up. And truthfully, the only reason we made that movie is I was with Adam Sandler in Hawaii. And I was just, because I used to do this pitch when I was more limber, like Juan Marichal, and I could do this pitch. And he said, I was very limber because I was doing yoga. a lot then, and he said, whoa, holy crap, man, we should do a movie, man. That's it, that's all it takes for Adam. He said, we're gonna do a movie. And then Adam knew that David and I were fighting over something stupid. I think I made fun of him someplace, and then, you know, if you do that, and you're famous, it gets on the news, and he was pissed or whatever. So Adam basically wrote that movie. He didn't get credit for it, but he basically wrote the movie. It was all his idea, so that David and I would have to spend 3 months together and then become friends together. That's a true story. John Heater, but he just, you know, he was that Napoleon Dynamite thing was hysterical and clean and interesting and different, and we just, you know, who wouldn't want to work with somebody that interesting and good? And he was great. He's instantly, he came up with some comedy moves I'd never seen before, like, you know, being proud about something you shouldn't be proud about, you know, and it's just basically, did somebody fart? You're like, the slow acknowledgement that was me. It's like, whoa, that's a good move. So we've all borrowed that since then. Next question.
Hi, how you doing? First, I just want to let you know that one of my favorite quotes from you is from 50 First Dates, and I think you're on ship with Adam Sandler, and you go, fish, right on.
Fish, right on.
And my question was, I'm sure this is your first time in San Antonio, so have you ever had any funny experiences here visiting, or, you know?
I just know that there's guns possibly anywhere. You have to really think about getting in an argument with somebody in San Antonio. You gotta be really pissed. You have to make sure that they're basically naked. That's what I've learned so far. Well, people are really nice here. I'm very touched when people come by that booth and just hug you and say thanks for making me laugh, because that's all I wanted to do. And then it becomes a business, and you become thinking about, like, you know, like Chris Rock says, trying to get on that list. And then when you're off the list, you know, it's like trying to make movies is the toughest thing in all show business, because it's just so expensive. And the greatest film director America has ever had is, who really did a lot of the things you see in movies right now, and all the movies that he loves, Orson Welles. And they just didn't know what to do with him. So if they can destroy him, they can kill me too. You know, they can just take it, squeeze the creativity out of you. So you kind of have to just kind of cling to what, you know, to what you can enjoy. That's the process of doing it. And I've been very lucky to be able to make a lot of movies, and Adam Sandler's been kind enough to bring me along to share in his success. And you know, we're just kind of still doing it. I want to make a few more. I've got a comic book movie that I want to make that I think is pretty funny, and I just pitched it to Adam, and he really liked it. So I'm hoping when he likes something, I get worried, because that means he wants to do it. And then we have to do it. It's like, oh, now we have to really do it, you know. So we'll see. We can do it. So we'll see. But I don't know. What was your question again? I'm sorry, I don't know if I answered it. He's gone. Well, he didn't give a crap, I guess. Yes, ma'am.
Was it difficult making Grown-Ups 1 and 2 just because?
I didn't do 2. I just did the first one. And they made fun of me so much, so badly. I said, I don't want to do the second one. That's true. No, but my wife's having a baby. And if I did Grown-Ups 2, it would have been Divorce 2. And like I tell people my stand-up, I'm doing stand-up here at the Improv tonight. I don't know how, I'm going to be exhausted. But I tell people, it's like, I got to make this relationship work because I really like my house. My wife's great, but my house is amazing. But yeah, and it was fun. We had a good time on that. We had 5 funny guys. You know they're not all gonna, you know, lay down on you. One of them's always gonna be funny. And so it was good. You know, we had about 120 years of comedy experience there between Chris Rock, David Spade, Adam Sandler, myself, and Kevin James. And it was fun to make fun of Kevin James because he was the only one who was never on Saturday Night Live. So we would constantly talk about Saturday Night Live in front of him. He said, "Will you guys shut up?" I said, "Well, you could talk about Star Search. You were on that." He didn't like that. Yes.
Hey Rob, how's it going?
Good.
Hey man, with Big Stan, from what I understood, you actually did a crazy intensive.
7 months of working out and doing that, yeah. Not by choice. I thought I'd just do 2 months, but I just sucked so badly. Now, what we're doing is an independent movie. It's about $6.5 million to make that movie. And it just took forever to get the money. So as a director, I was really frustrated because I had David Carradine, God rest his soul, it's the last good movie ever made. Kung Fu, David Carradine from Kill Bill and everything. And I said, I don't want to make it without him. So I met with him and I got him the script, and his manager said he loved it, Chuck Bender. And I said, well, can he have, I don't have a lot of money to make this movie, can we have lunch and I'll tell him we'll make it. And then, so we had lunch and we're talking about everything. He was such a lovely guy. And we're having lunch and we're talking about Kill Bill and Tarantino, who I've been friends with for a long time. And we're telling our Tarantino stories. And like one time I went with Tarantino and Sandler to go see Rodney Dangerfield, and Tarantino didn't bring any luggage. He just wore his pajamas for 3 days, the same pajamas. So it was like stinky Tarantino for like 3. Anyway, so I'm telling that story, and then finally I get nervous and I start, well, so tell me, did you like the script? And then he said, I haven't read it. I looked at his manager like, what the fuck is this? Why am I meeting with this guy who hasn't read the script? And he said, well, tell me about it. So for the next hour and a half, I'm telling him the movie. I will go over all of the movie, and at the end of that, he goes like, I'll make it. And his manager looks at him like, what did you say that? Now the negotiation. But he was very lovely, and it was like fun to make. But yeah, it just took forever for the monies to come, and as the director, I was frustrated, but as the martial arts student working with Dan Inosanto, who's the guy who's Bruce Lee's #2, I got to work with the same stuff Bruce Lee worked with, and the greatest compliment I've ever gotten in my life, and I don't tell this publicly, but I will tell the first time I ever said publicly, he said, I learned the nunchucks faster than Bruce. That's the greatest compliment I've ever gotten in my life. He said, don't say that. I won't say that. I did the same routine as Bruce. I mean, I saw it in the movie. It was like 2.5 minutes long. I'm like, the audience, it's a comedy. You got to cut it down. If I didn't want to, because it was so amazing. But yeah, I tore both my rotator cuffs on the last scene, because we're working in a prison, a real prison, and like we had to get this thing done. And I knew I tore myself here, because when you're hitting somebody, there's resistance. And I was doing it for hours, and finally I tore this one, and I tore this one, and for like 9 months. I couldn't sleep good, and still to this day. I went to go see not the Knicks, not the Lakers, the LA Clippers Dr. Nick, and he said to me, how old are you? I'm like, 42. You're gonna use your shoulder like that? You're gonna use it again? You really want to get this surgery done? I'm like, I don't know, what do you think? Can you live with the pain? Yeah? Well, live with it, I'm not cutting you. I go, why? Well, maybe you could say, no, I can't guarantee it's going to be better. I'm not doing it. Get out of here. That was it. I left. So I have to work around it, and I've never been able to do the same things I was able to do in that movie. But at least I got it on film. Thank you for your question. Yes?
Is there a movie or a scene you regret being in?
I don't know. I mean, wearing a diaper and Goose Bigelow European Gigolo maybe. Bonnet, the baby thing with the thing. That was probably pretty stupid. But everybody was high on that movie, I'll be honest. I just knew, like, Matt Selman from The Simpsons said, just don't make it a murder mystery. Going like, shit, we just made it a murder mystery. It's just tough. Those movies just don't work. Sequels are tough enough, and like, it just never got there. I mean, there's some really funny parts, but movies and comedies in particular have to be satisfying. And if there's some really great jokes, but it doesn't have a satisfying core to it, it just doesn't work, And so it happens, And I took the money. I tried to make it as best I could, but that happens. It's a rare little thing to make a movie that works from beginning to end. I thought The Hot Chick worked. I thought the first Goose Bigelow worked. I thought, Big Stand works. Those are some movies that I think hold up. Quentin Tarantino, like, I asked him to do. I wrote a part for him in the new season, and he didn't want to do it. He said, "Dude, I just don't want to act anymore." No, well, shit, I wrote a part for you. But then I had Eugenio Derbez that did it. But he talks about, the movies that you make, and at the end of the day, that's what's going to last, When I had a movie come out, The Hot Chick, and I opened it up against Star Trek, because I didn't know about these conventions. I would have never done it, Gone up against Star Trek and Sandra Bullock and Hugh Grant movie, and that movie didn't open as big as it could have if we'd have done it by ourselves in March or whatever. And he called me up, and he's very nice. He said, hey, listen, man, I know you're disappointed with the film's opening, but it'll have a life. I saw it and I laughed my ass off. I saw it as my Christmas gift to myself. It's very nice. He's one of the few people who you know, calls you up when you need it and understands how tough it is. But he said this, it'll have a life. If you make things creatively, it'll have a life. Make things, don't worry about the result. Do it because you love it, and that love for it will attract other people who have a love for it, just like here. The people that come to the shows, the people that dress up, they love it. And it's like, it's fun. And that's what life is about, to do things that are joyful and fun. And sometimes it becomes a business, and then whatever. You have to accept that it is a business, but don't let the business part of it take the fun out of it. And that's the hard part, because it's a weird thing, because the people most susceptible to the pitfalls of show business are the ones most attracted to it. You know? And that's the thing about it. Like Chris Farley, I love Chris Farley, you know, and like, that guy was just funny as hell, but he was gonna, every time out, he didn't know what the hell was gonna happen when he came out there, and usually the craziest shit would happen, but he was gonna put it all out every time, no matter what. Didn't think about, you know, making it to 50, you know, and he lived life to the fullest, and, you know, as the guys who loved him, and we know the guys who were lucky enough to have a chance to work with a guy like Chris Farley were like, ooh, God, we love him. We never thought a guy like that would disappear one day, because it's fragile at the same time. So it's all temporary. 100 years from now, the only thing that's going to matter is, did you have a good time? And I'm still trying to have a good time. Thank you.
Speaking of joyful and fun, was there ever like a moment where you felt most proud for maybe breaking a fellow actor, comedian in character, that you were just like, yeah, you know what, that's my day's done. Like,
well, there was one time, there was an actor who hated me, and he spun the bag around and hit me in the face, and there was a big master lock, and clocked me underneath here, and I could have lost like my teeth, and I wanted to like punch him, or lose my shit, or whatever, and I said, I'm not even gonna let that get to me. I'm still gonna walk away from that, and I'm like, okay, good. The next day, I broke him, and he finally, and the thing about it, it's like, he never remembered that he hated me. He just gave into it. And that's what I think it is. You can turn people if you try. And a lot of people do give up on it, but you can turn people. You can make people who are going to go the other way work it, you know. And at the end of the day, it helps your performance if you're working with other people. Sometimes you'll see an actor, you know, I don't want to say names, but you'll see somebody, they're not giving you everything on your over. In other words, they shot their part, and now it's time to shoot your part. And then they're just looking at your shoulder. They go like, oh, you prick. Come on, man, where's my thing? So if you're not getting what you need from the other actor, pretend that you are. Just go for it, you know. Don't let their performance and not giving you enough, you know, give me like, I was offered a role to work with Tommy Lee Jones one time, and I heard from a good friend of mine that he's difficult, and I'm like, I ain't doing that. I don't care how much. It ain't worth it. And I said, I read that script, it ain't that good. But if it was a great movie, I'd take a chance, you know. That was a comedy, it didn't work. But thank you for your question. Yeah. Hi.
I was gonna say, one of my top 3 favorite movies is Grown Ups. Like my entire
Well,
life, I will quote it for everyone.
Thank you.
And I was gonna ask you what your favorite scene of Grown Ups is.
Well, I liked, well, you know, I like any time the guys were together, because you never knew what was going to come out, and then Adam would just let us go, and then we'd say, oh, what the hell's going to happen today? You don't know. And like, I love just being, you know, in the morning, Chris Rock and I would be waiting in front of Selma Hayek's trailer and go, how could she be this good looking at 7 o'clock in the morning? It was unbelievable. But we had fun. I mean, truthfully, I think the funniest guy in that was David Spade. He was like doing a sitcom at that time, and he was working a lot more than any of us. And so he was working every day, so he just would like come up with stuff, and I could just tell he was on his game more than anybody else was. And he was really funny. I still think he's consistently gotten the funniest over the years, more than any of us. I think David Spade's getting to a great place at it. And interestingly, Adam Sandler just did a movie with Dustin Hoffman and Ben Stiller, which I think he'll be nominated for an Academy Award, so you look for that, this one. It's a Noah Baumbach's new movie. He's fantastic in this thing. I hope you guys get a chance to see it. It's also going to be on Netflix. It's called the Meyerowitz Chronicles. So, thank you. Next question.
Like, what's your opinion on like filtering comedy? If you think it's gonna offend someone, are you still gonna take the chance? And
Well, I mean, if you're afraid to be offensive, you shouldn't be in comedy. You have to, I mean, comedy is an aggression. It's aggressive. If you're just going to be safe, then, you know, I don't know, you have to be willing to take the risk to offend people and to not worry about it. I think mean-spirited stuff, you have to be, I don't intend to be mean-spirited, but you have to go for it and not worry about it, you know. I mean, the worst form of, in this very politically correct age now where you have college campuses that have like free speech zones, like what? The whole country's free speech. What do you mean it's supposed to be free for, you know? So we have a very interesting dichotomy. That's why it's interesting, like college campuses, Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock, and I, we will never perform at another university ever again the rest of our lives. That's it, because this political correct bullshit that's happening in America right now. No more. Never perform on another college campus as I say, not that they give a shit, but that it's a thing that like we have to be careful about. But the worst form of censorship is self-censorship. You know, because as de Tocqueville, a great Frenchman, said, the thing about America since the 18th century that's so special was that not just that the freedom of speech was, I mean, America's got its problems in its foreign policy, you know, under Obama, Bush, and, you know, Obama's just a better-looking George Bush, you know, same foreign policy, and Trump's going to do the same thing. Foreign policy doesn't change no matter Democrats or Republicans, but at least you have a foreign policy that looks like what it really is. And but the thing about that's really unique about America is free speech, not just free speech legislated, not just in our, you know, the First Amendment. It's also in the society, and in other words, it's the people to not punish other people for feeling and expressing their true opinion about whatever it is. And the idea of free speech is that even repugnant and hateful speech is protected, not just speech that you want to hear. I saw this girl the other day, it made me laugh and made me cry at the same time. She said, I didn't go to a liberal arts college to hear opinions that I didn't want to hear. We're going to have a society of idiots very soon. So just keep an eye out for that. Like Thomas Jefferson said, you know, he's not worried about America getting over, you know, tyranny coming from outside. Tyranny will come from in America, and it's happening right now. And it's happening on your college campuses, so just be aware of it. So, next question. That's it? Okay. All right, well, I want to thank you very much for your time, and I hope you had a good time. And I'll be back over there if you guys want to ask anything else. And thank you for listening. And I wish you, if you're going to be in the arts, I wish you the best success. Come from a place of joy. Don't worry about the result. And if you love it, that's the most important thing, because they can't take that away from you ever. Thank you very much.